Hey, today I'll be talking about episodes 52 through 54 of Legend of ZhenHuan. Lanya hasn't made any friends in the palace, but the Empress seems to like her frank nature. At the very least, she knows she won't be sneaking around trying to scheme. The Empress doesn't want to take any chances though, and tells QiFei to make sure there is no chance of Lanya having a son. Wink wink, nudge nudge. Poison her. The funny thing is, Lanya literally could not care less. The soup gets there and she's like, so this will make me sterile, right? Thank you. She immediately starts to suffer from stomach pain and the doctor is called. After checking on her, he tells the emperor that she will no longer be able to bear children. When the servants are questioned, they say that Qi sent soup over, and after drinking it, Lanya immediately started to suffer from stomach cramps. Qi goes to see the Empress expecting her to defend her somehow, and the Empress immediately turns on her like, "What? Hurt a woman? I would never say such a thing." Finally, Qi puts it together that the Empress simply wanted to get rid of her. Like, it literally took the Empress spoon-feeding the situation to her, and finally, she realizes how royally she screwed up. Honestly, even if the Empress was on your side, how do you think she would get you out of this? Qi clearly did not learn a thing from her last attempted poisoning with ZhenHuan. Don't send obviously poisoned food directly from your palace, you ding-dong. The Empress gives her two options. One, she tells the Emperor everything, including her attempted poisoning of ZhenHuan. This would obviously affect Third Prince's prospects by making him the son of a would-be baby murderer. Or two, she can take care of things herself. Wink, nudge, kill yourself. She takes the hint. That night, she hangs herself. When the news gets out, the Empress puts on the show of her life. I can't believe she can squeeze those fake tears out about QiFei's death. She even tearfully says that she will make sure to raise Third Prince as her own, despite how hard it will be. Meizhuang goes to comfort Lanya. Lanya sees her as a reasonable person and they have an honest conversation. Lanya admits that she never wanted to have the Emperor's children. She was free and had someone she loved, and now she's trapped here. The Emperor's eunuch arrives with a decree that she is to be promoted to noble lady. Thanks, I guess. Dr. Wen comes to see ZhenHuan with some slightly upsetting news. Guo Wang is dead. Again with Huanbi. The news is devastating to be sure, but I think they went a little too far into ridiculous territory having her spit blood. Like, what, did her child just stab her in the lung? He was so upset? Anyway, his ship sank and his body wasn't found. Dr. Wen then says he will take care of her and her child as his own.
我会把你的孩子当作亲生骨肉一样照顾。
Dr. Wen, honey, I love you, but this is so obviously not the time. We're treated to a montage of ZhenHuan being sad as she thinks about Guo Wang. Not sure how she's flashing back to this when she never saw it, but okay, she's sad. With Qi's death, the Empress officially adopts Third Prince.
以后本宫便是你的额娘了。
She does her whole spiel of doing her best to raise him as a favor to her dear, dead friend QiFei. Her fake crying here kills me. All that noise, but not a drop of water. Third Prince buys it because, really, he has no reason to suspect her. I feel bad for the kid, really. The Empress Dowager meets with the Empress. Once again, the Empress Dowager sees right through everything. At this point, she's not even surprised. She does get a dig in though, hinting about her sister's untimely death. That's her older sister, the previous Empress. That clearly hits a nerve. The Empress stops pretending and says her sister could never have handled the harem the way she has because she was too soft-hearted. She even says that she will never accept another woman's child becoming the emperor because
后宫怎可有两位太后？
So it's clear that the Empress Dowager knows she killed her sister, and she's come out and admit that she has killed the Emperor's children and will continue to do so. Why does the Empress Dowager not do anything about it? Family ties. It all comes down to the fact that the Empress is part of the same clan as the Empress Dowagers. Her shame is her family's shame, and even though she knows the Empress is evil as hell, she knows that revealing her would irreparably damage her clan's future. I love this scene so much. The Empress Dowager is practically begging her to stop what she's doing, but the Empress knows she won't do anything about it. For once, she doesn't pretend to be anything more than the evil shrew she is.
所以您再生气，也都不能不成全臣妾，也是成全您自己。
Chilling. Back at the temple, Jingxi tries to convince ZhenHuan to drink something that will abort the baby. Huanbi says she should keep it, since it's the only thing left of Guo Wang. ZhenHuan decides she needs to take care of the baby as well as her family. She also gets the news that Guo Wang's ship might have been tampered with and wants to investigate and or maybe get revenge. There's only one person who she can use to achieve those goals though. I'll give you 3 guesses. Lingrong didn't learn her lesson after the Emperor's fainting spell, and she is still using sketchy incense to seduce him. It's an addictive scent that keeps him coming back, and he doesn't realize that he's not missing her, he's missing the drugged up incense. Plans begin to get ZhenHuan back into the palace. Jingxi reveals that she knows the Emperor's personal eunuch, Supei pretty well. He asked her to start a relationship with him once before. Even though he's a eunuch, who doesn't want someone to grow old with? Jingxi wants to offer to be with him in exchange for his help in getting the Emperor to come and see ZhenHuan. There's an added risk to this since technically relationships between palace servants aren't allowed. ZhenHuan isn't willing at first, but Jingxi doesn't take no for an answer. She heads off to Supei private abode. It doesn't take much convincing. She promises to be with him if he can get ZhenHuan back into the palace, and he agrees to help. Supei does his best, and after some not-so-subtle prodding, gets the Emperor to agree to go to ZhenHuan's temple to pray. I wanna like Wang Yue, but the really fake voice acting and the poor lip-syncing makes me want her off my screen. Creepy. The Emperor finally makes it to the temple. He doesn't make it very long before asking about ZhenHuan. It's obvious from the nuns' nervous behavior that they haven't been treating her right, and so he decides to go and see her in person. ZhenHuan lies in wait. She sets up in front of an altar and starts praying, just in time to be overheard by the Emperor. He walks in and they do some overacting and how surprised they are to see him at the temple. Although to be fair, I'm sure it's not hard for ZhenHuan to find a reason to cry. Jingxi starts talking about what a difficult life ZhenHuan has led these last 3 years. The Emperor, convinced she has repented of her rebellious ways, takes her in his arms and then just immediately to sex? The Emperor is always ready to bang. In bed, ZhenHuan makes the appropriate apologies, talks about how much she's missed him and how satisfied she is just to see him there. She wants nothing else. Unless... It's just gross. I'll be honest, I skipped right through this part. The Emperor intends to keep her at the temple and keep visiting her, thinking it'll be more trouble than it's worth to try and bring her back. ZhenHuan is of course just happy to be graced with his presence from time to time. When the Emperor returns to the palace later than expected, the Empress sends out spies to figure out what happened at the temple. The guards stay pretty tight-lipped, but honestly, what else could it be? This is undoubtedly my least favorite part of the show. No romance, no scheming, just pure, unfiltered grossness. The Emperor is just so... Honestly, it's perfect. Of course, a man who has been treated like a god his whole life would be this infuriating to watch. His interactions with Lanya, gross. Him being seduced by Lingrong, gross. Really believing that all this time ZhenHuan has just been pining away for him at the temple, stupid. And gross. But also, I don't really agree with ZhenHuan's decision. The real driving force behind going back seems to be to get revenge for Guowang, and I've never really bought that as a good enough reason. He's dead. Do you think he'd really care about revenge right now? You really think he would want this for you? The answer is obviously no. And with that, the question becomes, who is this for? I think she should have taken the potion as planned and had Guowang's mom help her sneak out of the temple. She seems to have adapted to the simple life at this point, and Huanbi and Jingxi would follow her anywhere. She could set up as a single mom somewhere. It would be tough, but at the very least she would be free and not having sex with a man she hates every night. At least we get to see more palace shenanigans. Till next time, thanks for watching.